Looks like Nico Colaleo wanted to chime in. I honestly thought I was done covering the really disappointing Super Bowl halftime show, but one of my Instagram followers let me know that animator Nico Colaleo, who is a really well-known animator, especially on Twitter, where his profile says that he's working on cartoons at Disney, Nickelodeon, and Netflix. And I believe I talked about him before when I was covering Butch Hartman. But anyway, the Instagram follower informed me that he's tweeted some behind-the-scenes information about what the making of the very brief SpongeBob animation we saw at the Super Bowl was like. How he also goes into how he says that the Nickelodeon employees were under the impression that this animation would be used to introduce Sweet Victory, and how he's saying that there's going to be more opportunities to honor the late SpongeBob creator Steve Hillenburg, because, as I said before, a lot of people wanted Sweet Victory to be played at the Super Bowl in order to honor Hillenburg after his death. So I know these tweets originally came out yesterday, but I'm really glad I decided to wait another day because more information has come out, including a couple more tweets from Colaleo, if I'm pronouncing his name right. Without further ado, let's get into the tweets. And of course, if you want to see the actual tweets themselves, I'll have them linked down below in the description. So here we go with the first one. Quote, "Okay, take it from someone who worked very briefly on that short SpongeBob clip at the halftime show only a handful of days ago. To everyone online saying F Maroon 5 or F Nickelodeon, they don't care, quit it, because that couldn't be further from the truth. All of us at Nick were in the mindset that new Squidward SpongeBob animation was going to introduce the band and they were going to go into Sweet Victory. But ultimately, it was the NFL's decision, and the end result was them meeting us halfway on the idea all the fans came up with online. Also, in the short clip itself, the animation is different because this was literally done a week ago with only a few days to create it, which in a big studio with everyone trying to do their scheduled jobs on top of creating this clip is kind of a miracle any clip was made at all. Everyone at Nickelodeon, of course, loves Steve Hillenburg and wants to honor him as much as they can. Sadly, it didn't really come across with this particular event, but there's always more chances to honor him this year." And then replying to some tweets, Colaleo said that he edited the animatic for the clip and did Squidward scratch slap temp vocals. And he also replied to Nick and Moore saying, quote, "I don't even really think it was a money thing. It's just the NFL isn't concerned with the cartoon business. Their business is football. It doesn't make sense to them to play music from a cartoon during the event that only a couple million people might recognize." So now that I've read these tweets, I'll give you guys my thoughts because I honestly have quite a few of them. And the reason I did film a video prior to this but never uploaded it was because in my previous recording, I basically just kind of rehashed what I've been telling you guys over the past few days. So I'm really glad I had some more time to think about what more I wanted to say. So the first thing I'll address is from Colaleo's tweets. He doesn't blame Nickelodeon or Maroon 5. He says it was ultimately the NFL's decision. And yeah, I honestly really believe him on that front, because it's not like Nickelodeon to say, we don't really want to do the Super Bowl because we don't think that many of our fans will be there. The thing about SpongeBob, though, and even Nickelodeon to an extent, is that Super Bowl would have been a really good opportunity for them to really promote SpongeBob, especially since he's easily one of their most famous franchises. My parents know about him. People who don't usually watch cartoons know about SpongeBob. So if there's any franchise that could have had a chance at the Super Bowl, it definitely would have been SpongeBob. And I said previously that I was hoping maybe Nickelodeon, Maroon 5, and the NFL could have worked out some deal to have Sweet Victory performed at the Super Bowl. You know, on like whether it be having like Adam Levine go out on stage and actually sing the song. And I definitely feel he would have been capable, or just have it where they just play the clip in the stadium. And even though it would be kind of lame, you would have, you know, the legit audience reactions going along with the clips. So I definitely think it's the NFL. And kind of like what Colaleo said in his last tweet before I recorded this video, he was saying that the thing about the NFL is that they're not in the animation business, they're more about sports. So I previously said that I'm kind of wondering if maybe they ran out of time and they were like, oh, we don't know if we can fit this into our schedule and have Maroon 5 rehearse this song, so we got to come up with the way you saw on the screen where they just used the SpongeBob introduction, but they just basically used that to introduce Travis Scott. But if they did have a lot of time and it would have been possible for them to put Sweet Victory in, and they're just like, we don't know, then I kind of get that. I mean, I've heard from a lot of people that they've taken and the fact that Sweet Victory wasn't played during the Super Bowl halftime show. And yes, as I told you guys, Mercedes-Benz Stadium tweeted them playing the Sweet Victory clip from the episode Band Geeks in the stadium, but it looks like when there was nobody there. But I know there's a lot of people who are taking this as, this is a sign that the NFL doesn't like animation and things like that. And that could be the case, but I think the more specific reason in terms of like marketing and stuff is that when the NFL was looking over what they wanted to do with the halftime show, and I was thinking that maybe the NFL was thinking, we got the Maroon 5 audience, and, of course, we're going to have the Patriots and Rams fans, whether they be at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium or they're watching the game at home. So we got that audience. But we're hearing the demand for Sweet Victory to play at the Super Bowl, and we think it might be a bit of a hodgepodge, because even though it'll please the SpongeBob fans, the vast majority of fans who may not even know about the Sweet Victory petition might look at Adam Levine singing Sweet Victory, or if they were to do a performance of Adam Levine singing Sweet Victory or something like that, or they play the clip in the stadium, the Maroon 5, Travis Scott, Big Boy, Rams, and Patriots fans might look at that and say, what are you doing? What the hell is going on? Why is SpongeBob here? So in that respect, I could understand them on. It still really sucks. Although what makes that kind of confusing is that I was watching Velasquez Boom's video today, and he talked about how the hockey team, the Dallas Stars, uploaded a video where they interspliced Sweet Victory with clips of their own audience cheering on. Now, I don't know if the clips of the audience was from, a live reaction and so forth, but it was their response to how there was no Sweet Victory at the Super Bowl. And I thought that looked pretty cool. And it was actually really close to what I was hoping that would be at the Super Bowl, where they would, at the very least, show the SpongeBob Sweet Victory clip, but instead of using the live action footage that we saw in the Band Geeks episode, they would intersplice it with footage of the crowd cheering on. And maybe even at the Super Bowl they could have had the Rams, Patriots, and Maroon 5 fans cheering on these songs. Now, in the case of the Dallas Stars, the NHL says that it's often a sort of tradition for them to play the song Sweet Victory when they win in a home game. So in that case, the Dallas Stars are probably much more familiar with the fact that, this song plays whenever we win our games. So, it's kind of like their victory song in a sense. It kind of reminds me how, like at a former college's soccer games, they would always play the Kool and the Gang song, the Celebrate It song from Kool and the Gang whenever they have home victories. It's that kind of a thing. So if going back to the Super Bowl halftime show, if they were really concerned that they didn't want to go over the top SpongeBob, a more discreet way they could have is have like Adam Levine sing Sweet Victory at the Super Bowl halftime show and maybe knock out one of his numbers. And this is like what I'm saying, if they definitely had time to put Sweet Victory in, which I feel in some shape or form they definitely should have done. But maybe they could have had Adam Levine sing Sweet Victory and just reserve the SpongeBob cartoon for just the intro. Like the only animation they're going to use was that intro, and then it goes into Maroon 5 performing Sweet Victory, and who knows, maybe Big Boy and Travis Scott would have joined them in. So I definitely feel it could have worked, you know, if they did it more discreetly. And the thing about Sweet Victory is that it doesn't come off as like typical SpongeBob. Like, you know how like we associate SpongeBob with being really silly and goofy and optimistic, where Sweet Victory, you know, is this rock ballad. It's this really big rock number, you know, the sweet, sweet victory. Like, I don't think to the average person that may not be familiar with SpongeBob, I don't think they're going to look at that and immediately associate that with SpongeBob. I would imagine for somebody who's never heard of Sweet Victory and it's their first time hearing it and they've never heard it in SpongeBob, they would think that, oh, this is a pretty cool rock number. So I definitely feel like, you know, it could have worked. Maybe there was something that happened. As I said in my previous video, if it was something like, oh, we can't really squeeze it into rehearsals, then I could at least give them a bit of credit for at least considering it, because if they just used the SpongeBob animation as ratings bait, and that I could understand why people are saying, you know, it's extremely disrespectful to Stephen Hillenburg. The second thing that I got out of Colaleo's tweets was that it definitely seems that the team at Nickelodeon is very passionate about SpongeBob, and they're genuinely want to honor Stephen Hillenburg, and it definitely seems that way. I remember when Hillenburg died, there were a lot of the SpongeBob crew, past and present, that were, you know, honoring him and saying that he would be deeply missed and so on and so forth. And Colaleo is definitely a really passionate animator. He's very in tune with the animation fandom and enjoys talking with them. So I definitely feel in that sense. I hope this wasn't a case where, because he said that the animators were under the impression that the Squidward intro sequence would be used to introduce Sweet Victory. I hope they weren't misled in that, okay, we're going to work on this intro sequence for Sweet Victory at the Super Bowl. I know that some people may get really cynical because it's the internet and say, oh, Colaleo, he's just, you know, trying to damage control for Nickelodeon. But I genuinely think that, you know, the team at Nick really miss Hillenburg, and, you know, especially even, you know, on a corporate level, like, they know that Hillenburg's creation is really, really successful and is easily one of Nickelodeon's most recognizable franchises. And I think even if they were to look at it from the perspective of, this is that SpongeBob is still a really, really popular show, people still talk about it, and people really miss Stephen Hillenburg, and hey, it would be great to honor him with Sweet Victory at the Super Bowl. Like, I feel that even, you know, the higher ups in Nickelodeon would genuinely feel that way, but we got what we got. You know, the NFL probably heard the demand for Sweet Victory at the Super Bowl, and I think they basically just saw it as a way to do ratings bait. Now, Colaleo did say that there's more chances to honor Hillenburg later this year, maybe with live performances of Sweet Victory and so on and so forth. And I definitely feel there's going to be, whether it be from either genuine people or maybe even people that are more opportunistic. I'm really wondering now, is there going to be yet another petition to try to get Sweet Victory put into the 2020 Super Bowl? Especially since, you know, there's going to be another SpongeBob movie coming out. So it might be another good opportunity. You know, even if they just do it to promote the movie, you know, it would be Sweet Victory at the Super Bowl next year if people got up and did it. I even kind of wonder, are musicians going to look at this and say things like, hey, I'll perform Sweet Victory at next year's Super Bowl halftime show if you choose me, and that kind of thing. Because now they got basically a whole year to get ready for next year's Super Bowl. So, you know, it's another definite opportunity. You know, even if they just want to use it to either make themselves look like the better performer, or they're just striking while the iron's hot, it's still really, really cool. Funny enough, on my Twitter, or when the Dallas Stars put up footage of them playing Sweet Eat Victory. I even tweeted my college's basketball team because I used to photograph basketball teams at my school, and they could be really goofy sometimes. They've used like Spongebob signage in their past games, and I'm wondering if maybe they could put Sweet Victory in their upcoming basketball game. I mean, I just basically did it for fun, but you never know. They might consider doing that. So in the end, I'm really glad that Nico Colaleo decided to come out and he went into some pretty impressive detail about how the crew at Nickelodeon is really enthusiastic and they really want to honor or Steven Hillenburg. I also think maybe they'll also do something at the Kids' Choice Awards, which I don't watch the Kids' Choice Awards, so I don't know, but maybe there will be another opportunity to play Sweet Victory, I guess. But I am really glad that he's come out and said it, and he did it in a really mature manner. You know, he even went on to say it's possible the NFL decided to not put Sweet Victory in because of things like the NFL isn't really about the animation audience. Although I still feel that because SpongeBob is such a well-known show, they still could have tried other ways of putting Sweet Victory in the show, in the Super Bowl halftime show. You know, whether it be they just play the clip in the stadium, or if they want to go more discreetly. I still think that when I look back on the Super Bowl halftime show, and I noticed that a lot of Maroon 5 songs they played were ones that were from years past. You know, songs like Moves Like Jagger and This Love, and I just think about how people I know personally who are like, ugh, why are you still listening to that song from all those years ago? I kind of wish that maybe they could have had Maroon 5 duck out on one of their songs so they could play Sweet Victory, so that they could have, because they're getting a lot of flack for their Super Bowl halftime shows, so I thought if they at least played Sweet Victory, maybe it wouldn't steer or the backlash away from Maroon 5, but they would at least get the appreciation from the animation fandom and SpongeBob fans in general. But please post your thoughts down below. What do you think of Colaleo's tweets? Leave all those thoughts down below. If you have any ideas for future videos, be sure to let me know in the comments. This has been Blood Moon Bobby, and thank you guys for watching. Hey guys, be sure to like this Blood Moon Bobby video if you enjoyed it. Please share this video, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment. Be sure to ring the notification bell to be notified about my latest upload. Follow me on my social media pages at Blood Moon Bobby to find out about what I'll be covering next and for more of my opinions. Thanks for watching.